Hello, this is Dr. Hassan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And this is the first topic which we'll be covering in this course, and that topic is introduction. Now, since the topic is has a wide coverage, so therefore, instead of having a single lecture which covers the entire topic, that topic is divided into number of subtopics. That is lecture introduction 1A and 1B and 1C. So this has been specifically developed for you, and this entire course uses that platform for your facilitation and for your process of learning. Now, this learning management system has many powerful features, and those features are explained in the videos, and those videos are available at the address given in front of you. Or you can go to YouTube and type my name, Dr. Asan Abdullah, and it will take you to my YouTube official channel and where these videos are available, these six videos, and these videos are also available on Canvas. So what are the features which are of benefit to you as compared to the traditional approach of the ancient slides which are static, which are passive, which are not very interactive, and so on. First of all, that the entire content is searchable, all the courses, everything is searchable, and there is basic search, there is advanced search also. And unlike the conventional and the old and the ancient slide based techniques which everything is fixed, so if there is certain visual disability, so the users can set the font type, the font size, the font color, the line spacing, and the background, so as to get the most out of it, which is not there in traditional slides. And the contents are presented in a hierarchical manner. So you have the statement, then you have the bullets, and then you have the explanation of the bullets, and then you have the references, and you have the diagrams and everything. And when you use it, you will get to know how powerful and useful this is. And of course, since this is an online system, this is like not a static run of the mill kind of a system, old and ancient. So there are online exams which are online graded, there are online solutions available, there are explanation available, track your progress, identify your weaknesses also. And of course, this is mobile friendly also, so you can rotate your mobile phone and things will get adjusted. And you can of course work on a laptop environment also, or a PC environment. And of course, you can also track your progress so that you don't have to note what you have done, what you are going to do, and what you should have done. And all of this is shown in these six videos, right? So I would strongly urge you to get to know the system. Now, the other big benefit of this method of teaching is the question and answer based approach. Unlike the traditional approach in which the slides were shown, a topic was shown, then a subtopic was shown, this is a proactive approach. So I'll be asking questions from you, and that basically triggers the process of thought that is engaging also. And of course, that engaging generates ideas in your mind, and it helps you assimilate the knowledge, it helps you understand the knowledge, and that is adaptability also. Because if we are not stuck with a certain single statement which comes over and over again, we are coming with different questions and different answers. And of course, that triggers the process of thought also. And human beings are very good at thinking as compared to machines, and we should be polishing on those thoughts. So this approach of these learning management system, and the approach of question and answer, that is applicable throughout all the videos in this course. And then the topics which are covered. So this is the list of topics, and one of those topics is introduction. And this lecture basically covers all the topics which are listed before you, and just give you an overview. All right. And within that topic of introduction, there are 14 questions and answers. So the first five will be covered in 1A, the second five in 1B, and the rest in the 1C. So this is how this course is organized, and I am sure that you will have a wonderful experience, and it will be beneficial for you. Now, we don't stop here. This is just a list of questions and answers, just to give you an idea, right? Now we will go to the actual supplemental website, and we will click on each of these questions, and each of these questions has bullets, and explanation and diagrams and references. So let's now move on to the supplemental website. This is the supplemental website, and how to maximize the usage of their supplemental website is shown in these videos, right? So optimize the usage, and the first video is about the question and answer approach, which is adopted in this course, and of course then how to cover the content and how to use the space optimized approach and so on. So all of this is covered here. And now we move on to the topic of our interest, and the course which we are doing is web applications programming. So we start with the introduction to the course, and we start with the first question. So what are the internet and web facts for North America? Now you might be wondering that this is a course on web applications programming. So why we are looking at the internet facts? The reason being because web applications run on the internet, run on the web. So you should be aware of the ecosystem, that what are the numbers, what are the population demographics, what people are doing, what they are aiming at, and what you should be looking at, so that you are a step ahead. So that's the purpose of it. So they said that this is the way it is organized. So we have this question. So what is the internet and web facts? And then these are the bullets. So what the facts are is that there's a high level of internet penetration in North America, and I will go over those numbers with you. And in terms of the usage, the most of the usage is significant is in social media usage. So if you are looking forward to developing things or to have presence or to create something, so that's the social media usage. Of course, these things change over the period of time, right? So what is very popular today, some other application comes in tomorrow. So need to look at it. And robust mobile connectivity. So and there are figures and facts which we will look at, that how many people are using their mobiles or their smartphones to access internet, because that is also very robust, that is very fault tolerant. And of course, not only there is an increase in data consumption, but there is also an increase in data generation also, right? So need to harness the power of that data which is being consumed and which is being generated. And of course there's the competitive broadband market also. So there's a market for a high bandwidth and everything. And of course then there is the emerging satellite internet services. So there are many mediums through which internet is available, and it is spreading, and the bandwidth is there also. So if you look at more precisely the numbers, you can look at the numbers. There's nothing to memorize about these numbers. The only significance being that these numbers are substantial. So there's 97.1% of the US population has internet users. Okay. And mobile connectivity is 396 million cellular connections, which is, as a matter of fact, more than the US population, which stands, I believe, at 340 million or 350 million. And you look at the data which is being created daily. So there's lots and lots of things are happening. So you need to be aware of these figures, right? And if we move on, so significant social media usage. So you look at these numbers. So that's 70% of the population, right? And the mobile cellular connectivity, and the numbers are here. So the point is that there's a lot of potential. Okay, the infrastructure is there, and you need to be able to capitalize on that infrastructure. You need to be able to develop applications, to use this bandwidth, to use that this diffusion of internet across the population. So that's the purpose. So that's the purpose, that you should know about all of these things, not just be able to do coding. Now if we go into more detail, right, uh, that how it is used, how frequently it's used. So 31% of the population is almost constantly on the internet, and 48%, you can see that these two numbers, the vast majority is like almost on the internet, and these are your customers, These are your customers, these are your current customers, these are your future customers, these are your potential customers, and you should be able to cater to their needs, and you should be able to come up with the solutions, and you should be able to capitalize on it. So if you're interested in more figures and numbers, so these are the references. So this is the what I mentioned when I said that it is a hierarchical approach. Now, what is the your job market, and what are the future prospects of web developers? Well, of course, AI has a significant impact, and but the impact in which areas, that's something different. So, high demand for web developers. Why there's high demand for web developers? Because you've seen that the large population is on the internet all the time. So all the applications. So when your customers are on the internet, it means that your applications should also be on the internet. Your businesses should also be internet. Your services should also be on the internet. So who's going to do all that thing? So the web developers are going to do all of this. Growing need for specialized skills. Now remember one thing. I don't have any likes or dislikes, but I know that web application is a challenge. Why it's a challenge? Because unlike a desktop application, which you develop or which I develop using a certain programming language, well, it's fairly simple, relatively speaking. The reason being that there's a lot of processing power, there's a large screen, and there's a lot of flexibility. But when we are looking at a web application, a multi-tier web application, you have to integrate many things. You have to integrate SQL with PHP or JSP, or and you have to integrate with CSS and JavaScript and HTML and Bootstrap, and then there are the different frameworks also. So you need to have people who can integrate, who have specialized skills, right? So that is the benefit. Opportunities in remote work. So web is by default, it's like remote. So, and of course, the impact of AI and this automation, right? But that is for the repetitive task. Creative task, right? Integration. That is the key here. So salaries and compensation trends I will touch upon. But remember one thing, in my experience, you should not go for a salary. You should not go for compensation packages. You should go towards developing solutions. You should be a problem solver. You should be a person, right? So salary will come to you, compensation will come to you. You don't have to run after them. They will come to. So career growth and advancement opportunities. So this I have just mentioned. So what I will do is that I will basically, so when we say specialized skills, right? This is essential, right? This is essential, right? But you need to have expertise in framework like React and Angular, okay? And of course, you need to have a strong understanding of databases like MySQL, MongoDB, and NoSQL applications also, and of course, Amazon Web Services also. Now, these require a lot of work. These require a lot of effort and time. And but I cannot have a lot of time spending on databases. But I will walk you through the databases, but not very complex ones. And COVID-19, of course, has brought about a big change. So now let's spend some time on the impact of AI and automation. So there is a change. Okay, there is a change. There's a transformation, and web is not an exception, right? Of course, we have those frameworks which can optimize the websites for better performance, and it can cut down on the development time also, and it results into job displacement also. But what is the point? The point is web developers embrace the AI tools, okay, and integrate these tools into the workflow, and should be able to be competitive, right? So it is shunning away or running away from AI powered frameworks is not the solution. You should be able to, and of course, but the thing is that I have a section in this course. There's a topic on frameworks, but this course is not about frameworks. Okay, This course is not about of course, if there to be another advanced course, right? One could have an course which is centered around frameworks. So career growth and advancement opportunities are there, right? And how come they come by the gaining experience and moving into higher level positions, right? And of course, they require a deeper understanding. Okay, and this even look at this user experience and design. So I won't be surprised because I do my graphics work myself. I do my coding, I do my graphics, I do my content development, I do my recording, I do my hosting. I am the maintenance guy, I am the backup guy, I am the administrator. Okay, so graphics. So spend some time in graphics. Learn some graphic tools. So get to know the graphic tool. The you'll be surprised at the dividends. So web developer salaries by North American cities, and these are the salaries. Here are the references. So which level or which is the level of experience and so on. So don't be distracted by, or don't be excited by, or don't be discouraged by the salaries. This is just to give you a ballpark figure, and you should be your objective should be learning, integration, coding, creativity. Okay, right? So compare a website with a web application, show diagrammatically. So this is basically a whole topic. I believe there are probably six questions and answers. So, web application is more of a kind of a static thing. Uh, it is not what I'm saying that it is looking down on a web application. Okay, I'm sorry. Website is static. Web application is a complete application. My apologies. So I'm not looking down at a website, but websites are fairly simple to develop, fairly simple to design, fairly easy to maintain. Of course, the depends on the content also, but there is a lot of activity taking place under a web application. So what is a website, what is a web application, and how complex they are, and their functionality? Of course, the technology is different also. I can have a website totally based upon HTML with some CSS also, but I cannot have a web application without a backend database for any real job, or without business logic and so on. And of course, performance is, because website is more or less static, so performance is not an issue, right? But when I have a web application and I have hundreds and thousands of users simultaneously accessing it and running queries, then of course performance becomes an issue. And of course, the development and the maintenance and everything. So let's look at some details here. So a website is just a collection of related pages. Website is a collection of related pages. Okay, that's it. And the content is static and fixed. Okay, or it can be dynamic also, but that dynamism is fairly limited. On the other hand, a web application is hosted on a web server. Okay, and there is a database server also involved, and there is data manipulation is there. And websites are basically informational. Application is that you have a full-fledged, you have a university running, which is a web application. You have a bank running, which is a web application. You have a ticketing registration system, which is a web application. You have whole businesses running, which is a web application, as a matter of fact, more than web application. And then is the interaction. Websites, they are static, they have limited interaction. So that's what I mentioned, that the conventional way of offering courses with static pages or slides, that is history. Okay, so this learning management system which you are using, that is a web application. It's a full-fledged web application. It has, you can interact, you have this dynamic content, there are databases, and there are multiple users right now at this point in time. Maybe you are looking at this course. There are, I don't know how many people, they are looking at some other courses, and some people may be having some exams at the same place at the same time. right? So that's what a web application is. And then the complexity, they are highly complex, okay? And they have intricate backend systems, and there are a lot of things are happening and so on. And those things you will be, for example, doing some of those things as part of your projects. For example, you just put in a page, you hello world, say for example, that is a website, so to say. It's a website, right? It's very simple. There's nothing. You just get hold of a holding of a hosting system, okay, and hosting account, and put up a page, index.html, right? But say for example, when I say that, make a login page. So you have a login page, and through that login page, your credentials are checked. And if the credentials fail, you cannot go to the admin page. And if the credentials pass, you go to the admin page. And at the admin page, you have certain privileges and rights, and you can log out from there, right? Or you are timed out from there. See, look at the complexity. And when you are logged out or you are timed out and you do a back, you cannot go there to the back because the connection is gone, right? So look at the complexity at the back end. So it is on the face of it, it's just a login page. But you see, there are a lot of logic there. There's a backend database there, right? And there are 4 or 5 pages are there, right? So that's the intricate backend system. And when you, as a matter of fact, go there to that admin page, then depending upon your rights, some people have more rights, some have less rights. And then, of course, there's a text, there are images, and there are videos, and there are blogs, and there's searching, there's e-commerce, and then there are a whole set of there are blogs also, and so on. So you see that they are different animals, right? And examples. So let's look at a simple diagram here, and you see that. Let me explain it to you. So website are static pages, right? So every user sees the same information each time because it's static. That's what is meant by static, right? So a user makes a request. There is HTTP server, and you have certain pages present over there, and the static output comes to you, and that's it. That's all. But for a web app, so there's a website, web application. Every user sees the different information, means that as per their rights, as per their privileges, as per their search criteria, as per the likes or dislikes or whatever. So that's what I meant. But it's not by default that everybody should see something which is different. So the user basically has a dynamic user input. Okay, wants to perform a certain search, type certain text, press certain buttons and whatever. And then it goes to the web server, and at the web server, there's a logic that what can be done, cannot be done. And then the database server, and the data is retrieved from there and comes to the web server. Over page is generated over here, HTML is generated, and you have this dynamic output. So you look at the number of levels involved in a web application and the complexity of the work. And at each level, you have a different language. At this level, you have HTML, you have CSS, you have Bootstrap, you have JavaScript. At this tier, you have a JSP, you have PHP, you can have Cold Fusion over here. And database server, you can have different databases over here. High end, low end, medium end, running SQL, right? And you can even have other NoSQL also. So if you are interested in more, so these are the references. So list and briefly describe the key 15 components of dynamic web application. Now it is not that somebody says that, hey, I am a superhero or a superheroine, right? And somebody says that, how come you are a superhero and a superheroine? They say, I can do this, I can do this, right? So when we say you have a dynamic web application as opposed to a website, we are looking at 15 components. So these 15 things make up a superhero or a superheroine. That's the point over here. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details of these 15 components. We'll just go over them, and when we go to the actual topic, right, then we'll go into more of the details. So let me look at some of those points here. We have 15 points here. So we have a web server. So web server we have already seen here. Now, yeah, one thing which is there in the videos is that if I click on top, okay, and I close all, I close everything. Okay, everything is closed, so it becomes very clean. So we were here, and right. So we had the web server. We spoke about it. We have the database server. We spoke about it. We have the backend programming language. Backend is not at the front. Front end means this is your device, your smartphone, your handheld device, your tablet, your laptop. So backend programming runs at the server, which is the database server, which could be logic, which is web server also. Front end programming is which is in front of you in your hand, and the web framework which is being used, and client side scripting. So for example, you have JavaScript, which is client side scripting. Database management system, there's a whole concept here, there's a topic here, and probably 14 or 15 questions also, question and answers. User authentication and authorization, this is very important, and this basically if you have a dynamic application, you need to have it, because it is not like a mandatory thing, but it depending upon, because you see you are the admin also, so you would like to do things in your admin mode. So when you're in the admin mode, you cannot just like enter a URL and go there. It has to be protected, it has to be authenticated, there has to be certain authorization. Now my objective in this course is that I will try my best to tell you what I know, right? And it's your responsibility to practice, to read about it, to implement it, right? So so that's the objective. So session management. So the what I mentioned before about login and about log out and about time out, that is all session management. So we have those we create the sessions, and these sessions we carry them across the application. There can be multiple sessions also, and these sessions ensure that when I log out, the session is killed. When the session is killed, then I cannot, if even if I do a back button, so I will go to a page, and that corresponding page, so there is nothing magical here. So one has to think of everything and implement it, code it properly, test it. So that's the session management, that you log out, you cannot go back, you time out, the session is gone, you cannot do a back. And if you, even if you type the URL, whatever you do, it's not to take to the admin page. Admin page is whatever the page where certain things are restricted. And there's the data model, how things are connected, the API integration, MVC architecture, I won't be talking about it, caching mechanism for the purpose of performance. And this is like a kind of a not but it can be challenging caching mechanism, because when you are doing your projects and your assignments and your work also, they may involve certain images or videos also. So those are saved in the cache. So when you refresh the page and you have changed the image, what can happen is that the cached image is recalled, and you will be at a loss that you are uploading the images and the images are not showing. So you need to clear the cache, clear the history also. Error handling and logging. Okay. Now I won't be spending a lot of time on it, but there are if you do get a hosting service on cPanel, which I would strongly recommend you, because cPanel popularity is one thing, but I've been using cPanel for a while, and it's very convenient, and it's very powerful, and it's very intuitive. So it performs the logging that what was clicked, but you can have your own extensive logging system. You can, as a matter of fact, track every single thing which is happening on your website. You can do a lot of things. So, but that is not covered. And the content management system. So these details, a lot of details, they're here. So most of, if not all of it, most of it, I have, as a matter of fact, just spoken and presented and talked about it, right? So then, of course, what is web application architecture? Now, web application architecture means that what are the components of the web application? Like this, there's an architect. architects design applications, and even before that there were architects who designed houses. And it was just not a map only, but it was a map connectivity, where the door should be, what should be the size of the door, windows, height of the room, and size of the window, materials involved in it, and how to keep it cool, how to make it hot, and how the water is going to flow, how the electricity is going to flow, how the sewerage is going to flow, and all those things. So it's a detailed task. So web application, there has to be, there is an architect of the web application, and there is an architecture to the web application, and there are different architectures, right? And so for example, it says this a monolithic versus distributed architecture, and these different architectures have their different application domains, and they have their different pros and cons, and they have their different security features. And this in this course, our focus is on the three-tier architecture, and we will start with the client server model, right? The client server model, this is, and of course, security is important. Of course security is important, because not only, because it's not that this your application may not involve any money or any capital, or but there are people who would like to exploring security loopholes in your application and trying to crash your application and do those things. So security in web application architecture is important. So you see that there's a lot of interesting stuff. So these are the details which I just mentioned. Okay, and and the components of the web application, you have the client server side and the database also, and so on. So this I've mentioned. So we have this presentation layer, three-tier architecture. Presentation layer is your handheld device. Logic layer is where how to add or drop a course, and data layer, what is happening at the database level. All right. So we have this, we have a monolithic versus distributed architecture. So distribute, because see, when we are running applications, we really don't know on the cloud where the server is and how it's distributed. It's just everything is transparent to us, right? So, and scalability things. So this is basically the this is a kind of a generic architecture, web application architecture. So we have this front end over here, and this is the middle tier. Okay, and you make the request through this, and you have this database, and you have the web server, right? So the user uh, submits a query and collects the data which is returned, and so on. And this is the front end. It could be a handheld device, it could be something else also. This is the back end. So the different coding takes place over here, different coding takes place over here, different coding. So collectively, this is the web application architecture. So if you are interested in knowing more about it, so these are the references. So that's all for the section and introduction 1A. Thank you very much.